Listen up, nature keepers. I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. And by the time we're through, you'll be speaking for nature too. Let's get buzzing, because today we're going to a bee farm, also known as an apiary. You heard me. This is where the honey is made. Did you know that honeybees live in hives? And do you know who runs the hive? It's the queen bee. All bow to the queen. Not only is she the boss, but she also lays up to 2,500 eggs in one day. Wow. Another fun fact is that bees love to dance. When a worker bee wants to tell the other bees where the good flowers are, she does a waggle dance. Can you waggle like that? Bees are essential to people and our planet, but they are being hurt by things like pesticides, habitat loss, and pollution. They need our protection. Thankfully, more and more people are caring for our precious bees.
My name is Eli, and I'm the beekeeper.
Tell us more about what you do, Eli.
The job of a beekeeper is to keep the bees happy. I provide the bees with a home, and in exchange, they fill the home with honey and they fill the home with bees. As a beekeeper, sometimes I have to go into the hives and disturb the bees, so I wear a bee suit so that I can do my work without worrying about the bees stinging me. The suit covers my whole body, and it comes with a hood with a screen, and I can zip it up and seal myself inside the suit so that I'm completely protected from the bees. A beehive is made up of a queen, all of her daughters, who are the worker bees, and a handful of drones, which would be her sons. So when a worker bee is born, she becomes a nurse bee. When they get a little older, they graduate to be housekeeping bees, which are responsible for collecting the honey, defending the hive, and building what's called bee bread. And when those bees graduate, they become forger bees, which means that they fly out of the hive and they go and they visit flowers, even 5 miles away from the hive, to find what they need to find. Oh, here's a drone. That's a drone bee. And you can tell the drone bees, they don't have stingers and they have really big eyes because they have to be really good at seeing the queen when she's flying. So right here is the queen bee, and you can see that actually her head and her midsection are the same as the other bees, but her tail is twice or maybe even 3 times bigger than the other ones. And that's because she has the ability to lay eggs. And often they lay more than their own body weight in eggs a day, which means that they're being constantly fed and tended to by the other bees. And as you can see here, these bees are actually facing her, and they're grooming her, and they're feeding her, and they're making sure that she's healthy and happy. Bees eat pollen, which comes from flowers, and nectar, which also comes from flowers. And on their bodies, they have hair. As they land on the flower, pollen granules will stick to their hair. And so as they fly from flower to flower, they're moving pollen from flower to flower, which achieves what we call pollination, which is necessary for plants to reproduce viable seeds or fruits or vegetables. The process of making honey is very beautiful. The nectar in the flowers is mostly water with sugar mixed into it. As the bees collect it, they drink it into their stomach, and they have a special stomach that's called their honey stomach. And they use that to transport 1 drop of nectar back to the hive. When they get back to the hive, another bee will drink it up into her stomach, and they'll go on passing that drip of nectar from bee to bee. The last bee will deposit that nectar into a cell inside the hive. The bees will use their wings to blow air across the top of the nectar and dry the water out of the nectar, which is why honey is so thick and sticky. So this is a good frame to see because you can see the fresh nectar in these cells, but this is the capped honey. When I do a harvest, what I'll do is I'll take the bees off the frames, and you cut off the top layer of wax, and then the machine spins them around and slings the honey off the frames, and then we can pour that into jars. Honey is really special because what you're getting to do is taste thousands and thousands of flowers with every bite. I don't think we should be scared of bees. We should be very respectful of bees because bees are doing their work and they don't want to be bothered. Bees sting for really only 2 reasons. One is by mistake. So that means you step on a bee and it stings you. The other reason why they might sting is because they feel protective of their hive. Their hive is all they have. And so they'll pretty much do anything to protect themselves. So if by mistake we bump into a hive or there's a hive in a tree that's been disturbed, the bees might want to sting. So we just want to be aware that when we're around bees, that we're very respectful and we don't disturb them.
Thanks, Eli. You heard him, Nature Keepers. Bees are our friends. They help us in so many ways. And there are a lot of safe ways we can help them too. You can help the bees by planting gardens, teaching others about bees, and supporting your local beekeeper by eating honey. That's the fun part. All right, now you know all about the bee farm. And since you've been such a good listener, I'm giving you a Truffle a Trophy. You can collect all my trophies by learning about other amazing places and animals you can help protect. Keep on caring, Nature Keepers. I'm counting on you. Today, we're going to my favorite place, the forest. Forests are filled with trees and grow in almost every part of the world. I love the smell of my precious trees. So many animals call the forest their home, like raccoons, coyotes, foxes, and skunks. One of my favorite kinds of animals you can find in the forest are wolves. Wolves are carnivores. That means they eat mainly meat. But did you know that they're also very social creatures? They live and hunt together as a family called a wolf pack. Even though you should never approach a wolf in the wild, they need our protection. Lauren from the Lockwood Animal Rescue Center is here to tell us more.
Lockwood Animal Rescue Center rescues a lot of wildlife, so things like wolves and coyotes and raccoons and foxes, macaws and Amazon parrots, horses, pigs, and we also have a skunk. But he's a nighttime guy. He likes to sleep during the day. We take in these animals that otherwise would have nowhere else to go. This is nothing like the wild, but it also protects them from the dangers of being in the wild. There's a trade-off, but I think they're happy. Oh my gosh. That's what you get when you give love. Every ounce that you give, you get back, especially from these guys who know that they've been rescued. Hi. Oh, my baby. He's such a good boy. Why do coyotes get such a bad rap? This beautiful animal, a pure wolf, came to us from one of those Hollywood movie animal programs, and he didn't want to act. He was like, this is not my choice of professions. And we're very grateful that he came here. What a gentle boy you are. Here, baby. Wolves are what's considered apex predators. They're the top of the food chain. Depending on what area they are, they might eat moose or elk, and they'll eat things like deer, and they make the herds run. And that keeps the herds healthy, and it also keeps the environment healthy because they move these animals away from the grazing grounds. Otherwise, the deer and the other animals would just eat everything up, and it is not good for the environment. Here he comes, here he comes. So when a wolf walks, they keep their head, their back, and their tail all in a one straight line. And they lope. They don't usually walk, they usually kind of trot. And that allows them to go long distances. They can go 20, 30 miles just on that trot. And it helps them to conserve energy. Hi, Esther. Hi, Mama Girl. So Esther, she is exactly 50% half wolf and half Alaskan sled dog, like a Malamute. People want to own a piece of the wild, and they very often end up with wolf dogs, but they don't make good pets, and they don't learn like dogs do. And when they get older, they're not in their puppy stage anymore. They're usually relinquished to either a sanctuary or they end up in the shelters. Just a little bit about how to identify a dog, a wolf dog, and a wolf. Wolves have long, skinny legs, like they're walking on stilts. Wolves do not bark. They howl. They have short, coarse fur. And their tails are never curled up over their backs. Dogs usually have tall, pointed ears. Wolves have short ears that are usually a little bit rounded at the top, and they have lots of fur in their ears. A wolf dog has a mixture of those traits. The more wolf that they have in them, the more they're going to look like the wolfy traits. What's this? His ears are pointed, he's wagging his tail. He's got a big, boxy muzzle. He's got short, coarse fur, long, skinny legs. He is actually just over 50%. Hi, you're a funny-looking dog, aren't you? But you're so handsome, too. We can't release a wolf dog into the wild because they have doggy traits, and that would not be good for the wild population of wolves if they mix with those. And then they'd come up to someone's home and say, hey, what's for dinner? And that wouldn't be safe for anybody. I have loved wolves since I was a little kid. I'm so grateful for what they give me by allowing me in their lives. It really means something special. If you take away the wolf from the forest, you're actually causing damage to all the other animals, including human animals. We need wolves. Wolves are essential to keep our entire ecosystems intact. And that's one of the miracles of wolves.
Greetings, nature keepers. I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees, and by the time we're through, you'll be speaking for nature too. Grab your water shoes, because today we're gonna hop around the pond. A pond is a small area of still fresh water. Ponds may look small, but they do a big job in supporting all kinds of wildlife. Many creatures love to hang out at the pond, me included. Water birds like ducks, geese, and herons build their nests near the water's edge. Other animals you might see are insects, fish, and amphibians. Amphibians live on both the land and in the water. One of my all-time favorite amphibians are frogs. Did you know some frogs can jump more than 20 times their body length? That's like a human jumping higher than a 10-story building. Wow! I bet you didn't know that almost 2/3 of all freshwater wildlife live in ponds. Ponds are really important because they support biodiversity. That's a fancy word meaning a variety of living things that are interconnected. Here to tell us more is a science teacher, Christina.
One of the beautiful things about the environment is the way that everything is connected. The pond is a great example of an ecosystem. An ecosystem is the community of everything around an area, the plants, the animals, and the non-living things, like the rocks and the minerals. And in an ecosystem, the things are all depending on each other. Even if something doesn't seem important, like you may think, bugs aren't very important. But if there were no bugs, the birds wouldn't have anything to eat, and there wouldn't be any birds. So each thing is important in its own way. All right, I'm looking for bugs to catch. I see some swimming around in here. Look at this cute little snail. Snails love water. They need it for their little trail of slime that comes out the back. I think this guy is very cute. You may wonder, how do plants and algae get their food? Because they just seem to sit there, right? They don't go anywhere. Well, they take the heat and light from the sun. The plant's roots take nutrients from the soil, and the leaves take in air. And the sun helps the plant process those minerals and what they get from the air, and that's how the plant gets the food, and that is called photosynthesis. In the food chain, the animals eat the plants, and that energy goes to the animals. And then some animals may eat other animals, like birds eat insects, and that energy then goes into the birds. The energy flows through the food chain, all coming from our lovely sun. So right here we have some poison oak. This can grow near ponds, and it is something to watch out for, because if you touch it, it can make you super itchy, and it is not fun. If you do get some poison oak, look for this plant. It's called mugwort. People call it nature's antidote. Rub it where you got the poison oak and it should help with the itching some. When you're visiting a pond, you want to make sure to protect the biodiversity and the nature. This is this plant's and animal's home, so you don't want to harm their home. You want to treat the things you find with respect. And you want to leave it beautiful, so when other people come and visit, they can enjoy it too. In general, for the environment, it's a great idea to reduce, reuse, and recycle. Especially don't leave any trash at the pond, but don't leave it anywhere. Find ways to reuse what you have so that we're not creating waste. If you enjoy learning about ponds, one of the best things you can do is learn more. Study what is around you, where you live, and sharing what you learn with other people. It's so nice and relaxing to just sit by a pond, take in the sounds, and enjoy the sights. It's a great place to bring your family or your friends and have a great day out in nature.
Listen up, nature keepers. I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees, and by the time we're through, you'll be speaking for nature too. I hope you're hungry, 'cause today we're going to an orchard. An orchard is where fruit trees grow. Peaches, plums, cherries, and nectarines are all known as stone fruits. Stone fruits have a pit or a stone in the center of the fruit that protects the seed. Do you know what kind of fruit lemons and oranges are? Citrus fruits, my favorite. Some kinds of fruit also grow on bushes, like blackberries and raspberries. Farmers grow lots of delicious fruits and vegetables that you can buy at your local market. This is called produce. Produce gives us yummy, healthy food to eat, but growing produce can hurt the environment by using pesticides, fossil fuels, and tons of water. This is Farmer Rob. He's working to grow produce in a way that actually helps give back to the land and nature.
Here at Primal Pastures, our permaculture model is to integrate animals into the orchard. Our orchard has over 100 different types of trees in it. The trees benefit from the fertilizer from the animals, and so when the animals poop around it, that gives nutrition to the soil and the trees. And the ducks that run through the orchard, they also eat the bugs and the insects and the snails off of the trees and help protect them. We also integrate the cats and the dogs into the orchard because we have larger rodents like squirrels and mice that also enjoy eating the fruit. By running them through, they scare those off so that we still get the delicious fruit that we need without having to spray anything. Soil is where it all starts. So on the left, you just have dirt with almost no organic or biodiversity or health to it at all. And then here you actually have healthy soil. And in my right hand, there's over 50 billion different living organisms, which is more than all the people on the earth. By creating healthy soil, you're able to create much healthier grasses and plants, and then the animals that eat those become healthier, and then the people that eat those become healthier. Each fruit is going to be different when it ripes. So citrus, you typically see them change colors. They become a bright, vibrant color. This is one of our Meyer lemon trees, and you can see the different stages. When they first start, they look like tiny limes. And the reason it's all green is because the plant wants to protect it in those younger stages. But as it gets older, it turns yellow because it wants you to pick it. That's how its seed gets spread. And so it turns it to a bright color that stands out off the tree. And then probably in the next week or so, this will be a ripe lemon that we'll be able to make delicious lemonade out of. So this is a pomegranate tree, and you can look here as they started as these little buds, and then they turn as flowers, and then the pomegranate will grow from the inside of the flower. You can just crack them open and either eat the seeds or you can juice them. The juice is phenomenal. These are our thorn blackberries. Part of their defense mechanism in nature is thorns, so when you're picking them, you just have to be a little more careful. You can see how sharp they are, but it's just crazy how much fruit one blackberry bush can produce. So there's over 1,000 blackberries at different stages on this bush. These are the grapes you get in the store. They're table grapes, and they're growing on a vine, which is a different type of plant, and the way it grows, where you have a central stem that comes up and then the branches come off the vine. And then you can see where the table grapes just fall down. And this is them just starting out, and they'll get bigger and bigger until you see them the size of the ones that you typically get in the store. This is the cotton candy variety, so when you eat it, it actually tastes just like cotton candy, but it's much healthier. This is our strawberry plant here. and they taste delicious. We put this straw down on the ground because we call that soil armor, and what that does is that protects the soil from the sun. Then you don't have to waste nearly as much water to produce the same amount of fruit. So this is our vegetable garden. Here what we've done is we've planted our squash surrounding the corn, and the reason we do that is we plant the corn first, let the corn start to grow, and as the corn gets taller, then the squash will grow in and around it. And this provides protection to the lower stalk of the corn, and so they both help each other grow. So the idea behind the farm is really to bring the community out to the farm. You can pick all the organic fruits you want, eat whatever you want here, and by doing that, it cuts down on the amount of packaging and picking and transportation costs and gas, and is really beneficial to the environment as well.
Thanks, Rob. Growing tasty food while taking care of nature is absolutely delicious. You can help by visiting orchards, learning more about where your food comes from, and maybe even growing your own garden. Great job, Nature Keepers! Here's a truffle trophy to add to your collection. You can collect all my trophies by learning about all the amazing places and animals that need our protection. Thanks for watching, and keep on caring, Nature Keepers!